Not live and coming to you from the fabulous Sunset Strip in Hollywood, California, it's the Bob Dean Show. Yay! I want to say hello to Sammy Junio and Joe White. I don't want to say my staff, my associates. Dennis Alsin is here with us again today. Louis LaCava is he's here for the third time. Happy to have Louis back. He is, well, yeah, exactly. And you're an expert cake baker, too, though. Yeah. Louis has been on 3 times discussing our Al Capone-ish gangsters. And I know that a lot of you guys out there really enjoy Louis talking and stuff like that. So, but today we're going to talk. We're also welcoming Leslie Catwoman, and Dave Anger.
Hello. Okay, we didn't hear no yay.
Hello. Yay! Well, yay! Welcome to the Bob Dean Show. Before we get into the meat of the program, we record on Tuesday, so the show will be out on Friday, but I'll be at the Laugh Factory in Hollywood tomorrow night, so y'all can't come because it'll be over. I will be at Flappers in Burbank on October 7th, Sunday night, showtime 9 o'clock. Please come out. This is episode 56 of the Bob Dean Show. Yay! Very proud of that. And as you know, we've been picked up by iHeartRadio, so please, everybody, while it's still free, download and subscribe, rate and review on iTunes, please, and go to add the iHeartRadio app to your devices and follow the Bob Dean Show. Yay! On iHeartRadio, and you can watch now thanks to the artistic talents of Joe White on YouTube and Sammy Jr., of course. So anyway, that being said, let's see what else. I always forget anything I want to say. Happy birthday to everybody. Happy Jewish holidays. Merry Christmas coming up. And let's get to the show. Yay.
Happy Halloween.
Oh, that's right. I knew. Well, that week we're going to have 3 or 4 shows before Halloween.
And don't forget about Columbus Day.
That's right.
Nice bastard. Okay.
Now, we are going to dress up for Halloween.
The man who brought the wheel to the new world.
The wheel to the new world. That's true. Okay. So anyway, this lovely lady and these gentlemen, well, I know that you 3 go back to the mid-'70s, right? Mm-hmm. And yeah, and you, all of you. But now, okay, these guys are what now? I was a new waver.
We
were all new waivers in the beginning.
But I wasn't. Dennis, we joke. He said you're a punk rocker at heart because I was like Sheena. I wore the khaki pants and the button-down shirt, and I ran with preppy kids. And I'm still friends with these guys, but at the same time, I have a rock and roll soul, I guess.
Troublemaker.
Go to hell. Why I oughta. Anyway, but so these guys were how the whole thing started, the whole real punk rock era in Los Angeles, California, on the Sunset Strip. And I'm just going to turn it over to these guys. How long did you all met hanging out on the Sunset Strip? In what, 1975, around that time?
No, not 75.
I popped in 79 when
okay.
Rock and Roll High School.
I'm a couple of years. Well, Lou.
I'm 78, 79. Late
I'm
78.
78. I'm
78.
Thank you.
Maybe late 78, more 70. Yeah, 78, 79.
And you?
I started in 76 in San Francisco and came to Hollywood in 77.
Okay, so it's all around the same time. Now, do you guys remember when you first met and where?
Well, I used to have and one of those afar crushes on Leslie when I was a kid. A lot of guys did at the old Starwood.
Yep.
And a lot of guys wouldn't talk to her because
I beat the shit out of you.
She had that reputation. She did.
No,
she
but
had
that's
that
actually
reputation.
true. I had a horrible reputation. I would have loved to have a punk rock boyfriend, but nobody would mess with us. They were afraid. So these punk rockers really were a bunch of pussies.
We were all young back in the day.
They were young. I mean, he's 2 years younger than me. So if I was 17, he was 15. And probably, at that age, I probably would have given him the time of day anyway. Because, I mean, when you're 53 and 55, it's not that bad. But,
Yeah. You saw him standing there by the wrecking machine. Huh?
Yeah, with his braces.
And PF Flyers.
Yeah, and his little
And
mohawk.
PF Flyers. Did you really have braces?
No, I did not. We never actually spoke. I just always thought, everybody, you go to the club. Some people talk, some people didn't. They had their cliques, just like it is today.
Yeah.
Nothing's changed in life, and I never actually got the nerve to actually go up and finally talk to her. But then she eventually disappeared as the scene grew on a little bit longer as I got older, and then we actually met up through, I hate to say it, but Facebook.
Listen, that's brought a lot of old friends together, and a lot of people that don't want to, but more so, I think it's done good.
Yeah, through a mutual friend that she has and I had from back in the day. And then her and I started talking, and then all three of us would start going out and hanging out, and eventually it just blossomed into a nice relationship.
See?
Okay, now here's where where you first said cat, under Leslie Cat Women.
Women, correct. That's what
Here
I was.
is how that came to be through
well,
Facebook.
Give our audience a little background. Now, you
Okay.
went. Your AKA was Cat Women.
Catwoman.
Catwoman
Back-
a long time ago.
Right, because
Okay.
of my hair and
And
you know,
you're
make
friggin' awesome. Can you show
yeah.
the audience your glasses there too?
My Catwoman.
They're friggin'
I
awesome.
got my Catwoman tattoo.
Can I answer? I don't know if it
Nice.
has anything to
My
do with it,
cat-
but there was a London Catwoman.
There was, yeah. There
And
was
some of us
Sue
called her
Cat-
L.A. Catwoman because they had the similar, a very unique, specific hairstyle.
And we
So
actually
let's start
looked a
with that.
lot alike,
They did
too.
look
But
alike.
you know what? She was the only one doing it at the time, and
Right.
everybody was afraid to do it because they were afraid that she was going to punch you out. That's what we thought. We did, and then I gave
love it.
a mutual friend of mine and Lance's, Todd Carnahan. I gave
Great
him
guy.
a similar Catwoman hairdo, and it was weird. He had it for a bit, and he got threatened a few times by other punks, which made no sense because we were all supposed to be there, enjoying ourselves and doing whatever it was the hell we want. But it was always the upper middle class punks, if there's actually any real ones, that would give him slack because he and I were, we were poor kids. But it just didn't make any sense. But that's how she had her name because she looked like the Catwoman from England, and she was the only one here that had ever had that haircut for like the longest.
So the reason I changed my Catwoman to Catwomen on Facebook is my girlfriend Nadine, aka Weenie, said go on to Facebook. Well, I had been out of the scene for you know what I mean. I had 2 kids. I was married. I'm like, I don't want to get all involved. I don't want people looking me up. I just want to do it so I can she goes, well, change it from Catwoman to Catwomen. And I'm like, okay. And we thought, well, that would be okay. Did not work. Did not work because that's just, they saw my face, there's old photos, and then that's bam.
Well, I'm going to friend you as soon as I get home. But yeah, you thought it would be a little bit of a diversion so you wouldn't be so recognized.
Because
but
I don't think
catch
people
up.
really knew my name as Leslie, unless they really knew who people that I really hung out with. I don't think anybody knew my name was actually, because it was just called me Cat. So
Now,
I thought there's no.
What's the story? Are you guys both? You are an LA native, right?
Yes.
Are you guys LA
Yes,
natives?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I was born and
What,
raised.
what part of town did you grow up?
Silver Lake.
I grew up right in Hollywood. I grew up off Hollywood and Western. Went to Grant Elementary, LaCava Junior High, and Hollywood High School.
Hollywood High School. Cool.
Yeah, and I went to Ivanhoe, King, and Marshall.
Well, and you're from the Bay Area. I know that. I always say thank you seriously to LA natives because I moved here from Nashville, as everybody knows, that listens to the Bob Dean Show.
Yay!
But because I moved out here because everybody was from LA was moving there. But I always say thank you to everybody that's a native for letting me move here because I friggin' love it. I wish I had moved here. I have a joke because I do stand-up comedy and I'm relatively amusing. But I make a joke. I wish, because I flipped a coin in 1982. It was either L.A. or Miami. And Miami won, so I packed my car and moved to Miami. But I wish I had moved here because I could have been a washed-up has-been by now.
Yeah.
But that's where you met Tomato.
Yeah. Oh, Tomato de Plenty. This is a really, because Dennis and I are pretty close friends.
Nudge, nudge.
But it's our 6 degrees of separation is crazy cool. And if you don't mind, I'll tell you. Dennis, you all knew Tomato, right? And I met Tomato sitting at this little cafe. Lulu's, when Miami Beach was having its resurgence in the mid 80s and up. There was a cafe called Lulu's that I also managed for a while and tended bar there. That is exactly like Cafe 50s. Same concept, same small place with all the stuff on the walls. I'm sitting at the bar one afternoon and this guy starts up a conversation. and blah, 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 blah. We talked for a couple hours. She goes, I want you to be in my play. And I'm like, and I mean, I was Mr. Bumble in the 5th grade production of Oliver Twist and Uncle Max in the 6th grade production of The Sound of Music at Walter S. Miller Elementary School in Levittown, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
But I'd always,
Did you get all that?
I tend to repeat myself. Where I went to high school didn't have a theater program, blah, blah, blah. I knew I probably would have been a punk rocker and or a theater geek. All right. Anyway, so Tomato says, I want you to be in my play. And I was like, okay.
And of course, you had no idea who he was.
All I knew is that his name was Tomato. He introduced himself as Tomato. And of course, the first thing I was like, oh, cool. Interesting name. And then because I was living in Fort Lauderdale and just started working at this place as I ended up moving to the beach and making a lot more beach friends who probably would have been the equivalent of a punk rock kind of attitude. We took crap from nobody and we ran the streets and ran them hard.
What about when the military took over during the storm? You guys were going out against the tanks and shit after.
Well, yeah, we had to hide in the dunes, but that's another story. I'm gonna. Oh, we were crazy. But Tomato knew so many of the friends that I have to this day. So I was in his play. It was called Oogies. And it was and the theme song went ooh ooh oogies, coffee shop on the strip, ooh ooh oogies, where the hanging is hip, ooh oogies, it's the hip 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 hippiness trip.
And Tomato wrote that, right?
Tomato wrote it and directed it, and it was about a coffee shop on Sunset Strip in 1966. And I'm not going to monopolize the whole show hour, but it's important. So. And Tomato and I became very good friends. He told me I was a natural. The Herald called the show horrendous. The opening night was just, and there was frontal nudity in the whole 9 yards. It was a musical on top of that. The Herald called us horrendous. And I came running in the theater because I was like this khaki pants, Oxford cloth shirt guy from Fort Lauderdale that I'm just getting to meet everybody on the beach. And I come running in with the Miami Herald, we're horrendous. And Tomato's like, I know. And everybody else is like, all the serious actors are like, oh, I've never been so insulted in my life. Well, being called horrendous led to the theater being packed every night. And it was a small theater like the Ruby here, but it was the art act. Hello, JC and Carlos. JC, Carol was, and blah, blah, blah. There's so many kindred friends that you guys should meet. But anyway, so that's how I met Tomato. And then when we started hanging out, we're just sitting around laughing and talking, and that's how we got on the subject. And I have a Tomato do plenty that he gave me for my birthday on the wall. He's like, is that Tomato? I'm like, yeah, blah, blah. So 40 years later, I was a friend of Tomato's on the beach. And then the other thing I was going to tell you about Darby Crash's house, where Dennis lived for some time, 78. And so we're sitting around one night and we're watching TV and laughing and blah, 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 blah. And I'm reading over Darby Crash's book and reading about that he went to Uni High. And I'm like, hey, Uni High, it's like, it's 10 blocks from here. And I said to Dennis, I'm like, well, do you remember anything about where he lives? He goes, all I remember is there was this big church and a shopping center. And I swear it was 4 o'clock in the morning.
With disco drugs.
Yeah, and I was like, and I knew immediately where he was talking about. And I said, let's go. And the top was already down a little car. We get it. We back out. We go literally from here to maybe a little bit further than the corner and around the corner. And that's where Darby lived.
Yeah, I knew
Like,
I was in a
literally
vicinity, but not that close.
Yeah, I mean.
That was my landmark, that shopping center.
Exactly, which they had torn down since, but the church is what
Big
threw me.
fence now, so I had
Did
no
Darby
idea.
die in that house?
No.
No, he didn't. That's what I didn't know
He
if he
died
did.
farther east.
Oh, he did. Okay.
In a guest house, right? It was I
Yeah,
was reading it.
a garage converted
Was he
to a
by
guest house.
himself or?
No, he was with Casey Cole,
Cole.
who survives.
Okay.
But so the weirdness of the story is Bob's in Florida, meets
Tomato.
Duplenty, who urges him to come out here because he's a natural. He comes out here. Reggie's been gone for 38 years,
Yeah.
comes down from the Northern California,
Mm-hmm.
and they meet up, and
we talk about
they
Tomato.
know all the same people, and they're 1 block from where Reggie started
4
38 years
later,
ago.
and that was weird because that was really cool though because because where Darby lived with his mom, it's really adorable. It's a really nice duplex that hasn't been torn down,
Right.
and I've always really admired and loved the units there, and blah blah blah. So we go and just the way that the street lamp was like this, and Dennis was kind of speechless, and we get out of the car and he goes, there's where Darby did David Bowie in the concrete on the corner. And we walk up, and it's still there. It was really, it was very touching and very, very cool. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so that's how we met, and then knowing Tomato and that sort of thing. But let's get back to y'all. So,
want to hear about Crankshaft.
Crankshaft.
who and or what is Crankshaft?
Crankshaft is a 36-year-old punk rock band from L.A. Originally with Lino Lausi, Paul De La Cruz, Nick LaMagna from RS7, who passed away last year, and Walter Phelan, who are now RS7, who are a punk rock band that still keep playing. I eventually became the third guitar player for Crankshaft, and unfortunately, Lino died in jail last December. So Mystic Records, the original record company, is gracious enough to let us record the songs that we never did because the band broke up so long ago. And I'm redoing all the songs with my original drummer, and we're going to put out a CD hopefully by the end of the year.
That's friggin' awesome.
Yeah.
It's nice for nostalgia, you know. It's great. And for
That's
the
awesome,
friends and
buddy.
For him, and we're doing it mostly as a remembrance of him. And I spoke to his son, and I told his son, like, I'm going to use all your dad's lyrics except for 2 songs that he wrote about your mom, and I don't want to sing those bad things about your mom. So that's it. But it's nice. It's nice that the company, I became friends with the owner, Candace DeAndre, and she's willing to do that for us and for him. So it's
That's
very
great.
Cool. It's very cool.
Much success to you. And you'll keep us posted on dates when we can all.
Well, 2 comps came out already with one song each. One's Return to Slimy Valley, and the other one's called Mystic Land, which just came out 2 days ago.
And we can find them
You can find those on iTunes.
on iTunes.
You can look them up.
Along with the Bob Dean Show.
Yay!
But no, let's look for these great tunes, man.
I'd actually like to give a shout out to a mutual friend of Reggie and mine,
Insane Jane Weens.
Jane Weens. Happy birthday, Janie!
Happy
Jane.
birthday,
Jane.
Insane Jane. I love you already. Is she here in town?
No,
She's in
locked
San
up.
Francisco.
San Francisco.
Yeah.
She was in the Maggots, and she was also in the Cosmetics
And
with
the
my sister.
Ramonas.
With my sister.
And the Lou,
Yeah.
Versus, the Ramonas, the Maggots,
Cosmetics.
Cosmetics. She was in a band with a guy that went on to become a Beastie Boy. She was in
right.
Courtney Love's first band, Baby Doll.
Baby doll.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. She's a great.
She's a great drummer.
She plays drums with a broken foot. I mean, she will kick a gig out.
Not only that, an amazing artist. Her house
she's really
was
great.
the
yeah,
Yellow
she's the Beetle
Submarine.
House.
The Beetle House. It was the
That
Yellow
was famous
Submarine.
landmark in San Francisco.
Yeah.
She painted the Beatles.
Well,
all
you
over
need to
the
come
place.
on down here, Insane Jane, and we'll do a show with you too. That'd be freaking awesome.
Yeah, she would be awesome to have.
Oh, I know.
Her and
Well, happy
Kitty.
bir-
Her and Kitty.
Now, when you guys were club and on the Sunset Strip, what were the hot places? Like that
The
were.
Mask.
Well, that's what we're going to get to the mask
Hong
because that's
Kong
fascinating
Cafe.
to me. But what were the clubs where everybody
Blackies.
you could always count on meeting your friends outside or at the show?
Starwood.
For me, it was Starwood
Whiskey.
and Whiskey
Starwood,
because it was
yeah.
local for
Godzilla's, Vex.
me. Cathay de Grand,
Cathay de
a half mile
Grand.
down the road from my house.
I mean, I know the Fleetwood back when it.
Fleetwood down in Redondo, but it was
not in
important,
Hollywood.
but it's kind of removed from the Hollywood thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Completely.
And so, but what
Seventh Veil at some point was also
the Seventh Veil that's there, right?
no, but they had the.
It was a
They
club.
had yeah.
It was a club then, but what is it now? A strip club? Because I just passed it.
Yeah.
Well, there
Yeah.
was a couple roller derbies who did it
Yeah, yeah.
Now what? Now okay. What was the first one we said? The
Mask.
The Whiskey.
The whiskey. The whiskey is still, but most of these other clubs are gone though, right?
Well, no, they're still
No.
there. They just
Are
don't
they?
play. The Starwood's
Well,
gone.
Starwood's
the Whiskey's
gone.
there.
But I'd like to say the little strip mall that's built on the Starwood site is built in the exact same footprint of the old building.
Yes.
So the parking lot's there and the building.
What
holds the same
corner? What
shape.
corner are we talking about there? Do we know?
Is it?
It's La Cienega.
Los-
and
Is it
San
La
So-
Cienega? I
yeah.
can't remember.
Yeah.
That's neat.
And then of course Okie
Do you guys
Dogs.
remember that Middle Eastern prince that had a big palace up on the boulevard, and he had painted all the
The private parts
hair.
of the
Oh, yeah,
statues,
yeah.
right?
The pubic
Where
hairs.
was that? Is that where the?
It's on Sunset Boulevard.
Isn't that
They're
near the
still there.
Miracle
is that where-
Mile?
Is it still there?
It should still be there. He said he'd never take it down. The city couldn't make him do so.
Because I haven't seen it, but the place I think is now a Mormon tabernacle.
Yeah.
And oh, you know what? He may have sold it then, because I remember the last time I saw it there was God. I haven't been in this area in so long. It's got to be at least 10 years ago.
Yeah,
So he may have sold it. I
may
think.
have.
We need to get a walking tour. Seriously, not today.
That's what Google's for. I ain't walking. I'm old.
Well, we had one of those scooters, but Dennis broke
Yeah.
it.
I'm too fast.
I did. I had one of those heavy people, old people scooters from the scooter store that I bought at the thrift store. Like the first year I moved to, it would have been 13 years ago. And it was brand new. And anyway, so it was tradition to drink martinis and ride it up and down the driveway at my house. And then on Christmas Eve, which you guys are invited to my house for Christmas Eve. It's it'll be the 14th annual Happy Birthday Baby Jesus Cocktail Soiree, which is a benefit for the Humane Association, but it's a kick-ass party.
Oh,
right?
sounds fun.
Yeah, it really is. It's a blast. And but anyway, how did I get to that?
The scooter. How
The scooter, because it was a Christmas Eve tradition. But then Reggie here, but he was getting a lot of use out of it. But that thing, they look so light and airy until they break down, and the thing weighs
How
about
fast were you
600
going,
pounds.
Reggie? 75.
Just be glad he didn't end up under a bus.
Was it a
No, it
three-wheeler?
went about 10 miles. I think about
But
8 miles
it
an hour.
conked out on me, and I was like, "Go around!"
He was in the middle of Barrington Avenue going, "Go around!"
I brought it down to Olympic to go to 7-Eleven, and it conked out on me.
Did you
quit
charge
working.
it?
I called the taxi that was capable of helping me with the chair. They never showed up, so I ended up pushing it 10 fucking blocks.
It's heavy. Well, it's gone because it died.
Now, when it dies, you have to. The brake system shuts down. I
Well,
assume.
I found out what happened was I went over the curb too hard, and the battery cable had come off. If I'd have known that, I could have
This
just
is one of
done
the
that
kids'
and
cable.
rode
The
it
Evil
cable bus.
Knievel over here.
Didn't even
Yeah.
bother to look.
And we took it to the hospital, the scooter hospital, and the guy was like, you know what, you got really well. I'm not gonna, but it's gone. So we're gonna have to rent one for Christmas Eve.
He didn't rob you, did he? Did he rob you?
No.
He didn't tell you it wasn't plugged in?
I love that scooter, man. It was fun as shit.
So let's have some punk rock dirt on people like who ruined punk rock.
What I want to
Like Henry Rollins being an undercover fag that left his boyfriend in the dirt to be murdered.
Well,
Wait,
that's hard to top. That's hard to top.
I know.
But
Whoa.
I think it's all pretty accurate, actually.
Well, are you gonna
In
continue?
this day and age, does it really matter?
Really
That's
anymore,
it.
huh?
Oh yeah, like
It's
who
his
started the
personal
lads?
business.
That's always been a huge
I'm not going
thorn
there.
in
Alex
someone's
or
ass.
Conahan or whatever.
Oh, it's
I'm not even
so
going there.
ridiculous.
Nope.
Well,
let's steer clear.
Let's talk about the mask.
Okay.
Because you had told me a bunch of interesting stories about the mask, and then when I was watching Behind the Music, Belinda Carlisle, she talked about the mask, and they showed some pictures from
When she was fat. Oh.
Yeah, when she was real fat, and
Darby used to call her the Dayglow Blimp.
She's just plump. What?
She was
I
young.
love her to death, but so what?
I love
It's
big
a
women.
Big deal.
and if you haven't heard Dennis's song Belinda's Bra,
Oh yeah, it's on YouTube.
it's on YouTube. It's friggin' awesome. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a great tune. Have you
You
ever
never
heard?
told me about that. You have a song on YouTube?
Probably not.
What do you mean?
What he says? Did I ever tell him about it?
Oh,
Probably
I thought you did. No, it's on there. It's
Oh,
called
I'll check
Belinda's
it out.
Bra, and it's
What's
rock,
your
baby.
username?
Huh?
Your username.
Just go Belinda's Bra.
Oh, Belinda's Bra.
Just type in Belinda's Bra, baby, and it'll come right up.
I'll have to
Ha
skip
ha ha ha! I stole your bra. Oh, I don't want to
See,
ruin it for me.
I
Did
wrote
you?
that song because remember when she donated her bra to the museum of
No, I'm not a star follower. I really don't. I don't pay
To
attention to what people do.
Fredericks. You
yeah,
said-
Fredericks. She donated her
Oh,
mother bra to Fredericks Museum,
What year was this?
and so I wrote a song about stealing it and wearing it on stage and doing the song, and I planned on doing that. But when the riots happened, some motherfucker beat me to the
Oh.
They said they went and took it.
It's actually stolen now.
It's actually got stolen.
It was neat. It was leather and pointy, like that tired ass Madonna's cone thing in the '80s. I
Her
never got
birthday hats.
her birthday hats. Remember when that sex book came out? I was a bartender in Miami, and I was like, I remember being high as hell at 5 o'clock in the morning, smoking a cigarette, flipping through that thing, going.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I'm like, I did that 4 years ago.
Yeah.
But the mask was what? It was a.
It was a punk rock
punk rock-
practice gig.
Now,
hangout.
Was it an old apartment building? Was it a
No,
hotel? Was it a warehouse?
It was on the strip
Underground.
Fredericks of Hollywood.
Yeah.
Under the Pussycat Theater, right?
No.
No.
Where Fredericks is now?
It's
Are
not
you talking
there.
about the first mask or the second
the
mask?
first one?
Okay. I went to the second one. I didn't go to the first one.
Across from the Canterbury on by Cherokee.
But the scene was very artsy back then. It
Yeah, it
wasn't
was.
hardcore. It
No.
was still
It
very,
was very
Peter, Paul, and Mary.
very, very pogo-y.
Very
People
pogo-y.
was still, it was more theatrical. It wasn't hardcore. You could still wear
She means violent when she says
pillbox hats and be very artsy and art. artsy, and it wasn't violent at all.
Colors and
It was
animal
rock
prints
crime.
and
The pogo was
sexual
rock crime.
perversity.
Yeah.
But when the LA Times Weekly did a story on the mock violence,
Right.
all the violent beach kids thought it was real, so let's go beat people up, and girls couldn't even dance anymore.
Right, it got
You know,
yeah.
okay.
Then the slant, yeah, and then there was always a transitional a phase for me and my girlfriend who I hung out with. Her name was Jet Screamer. We started out actually as mods before that was back in '76, and she used to ride. Now this is actually kind of funny because we were mods. She had a Yamaha 150 that she rode. I rode in the back, no helmets, with beehives really high, with go-go
Awesome. You got
boots.
pictures?
Her mother, she passed away, and unfortunately, her mother grabbed all the photos. I'm trying to contact her brother to see, but she grabbed all the photos. We would go up to B Rock. Do you remember B Rock up in Griffith Park and get high? And that's the way we drove around town with these. And that was a lot of Aquanet to
God,
keep
yeah.
those
Cases,
beehives going. And that's how we pretty much got to the gigs, too, is on her motorcycle. And we were constantly getting stopped by the cops. But this one cop was actually really cool. He just wanted to take photos with us. So there was a whole transition. We all started the new wave and then the mod. And then eventually we kind of thought, as everything progressed, we saw ourselves just getting more and more hardcore, get into the hardcore scene. Because then it was like a lot of the people that were going to the mask and the scene was changing, they were getting beat up by all these people that were more. So they kind of, either you hung tough and transformed into something, or a lot of those old they dropped off.
They bailed out.
I didn't see a lot of these people. They didn't like the way the scene was going.
Yeah, they didn't want to put up with the shit.
Yeah, they didn't want to put up with the shit. And then you had all the Huntington Beach
what it was
people, the
HBs.
the HBs coming down, starting shit, and it was kind of ridiculous.
Who was it? Who? Did you just say from Huntington Beach?
HBs.
The
The
HBs.
the HBs.
Yeah, there was some of the skinheads.
Oh, that's what they were called.
Yeah.
The clan or.
Yeah, we just
Yeah,
call
they're
them
just a
HBs.
bunch of
you
idiots.
fucker.
Yeah.
Pardon me. We're gonna have to edit. Not edit, but we're gonna have to make sure that I put language
beep.
at the front. No, but yeah, you jerk offs.
And then
Spoil everything.
one time at Okie Dogs, we were attacked by the Japanese mafia with nunchucks.
Holy crap!
You wouldn't believe the things you'd see out there.
Well,
Yeah,
I had
it was
purple and
pretty-
orange hair in '77, and I had to fight for it.
Yeah,
Now you see
it's bad. It was bad. They
Office
tried to beat the
workers
shit
with it.
out of us, and they were good. They were good, but luckily Arnell was there, Mikey was there. There wasn't a lot of people at Okie Dogs that
DeSalvo
night.
Greg.
I don't know if DeSalvo Greg was there, but they all pulled their knives out, and because honestly, even though we were hardcore, these guys, they knew their shit as far as their whatever taekwondo. They had nunchucks and everything. I don't know where they came from. They just jumped out of a truck.
You never know where a ninja comes from.
I know. They're totally.
Or where they go.
Yeah,
Ninjas are Japanese.
I know.
I know.
I'm just glad I wasn't peeing behind Okie Dogs at that moment because that would have been really bad.
Yikes! Well, like Dennis just said, you fought for your orange and green hair, and now orange and purple hair, and now everybody's
But
doing
it's-
it.
yeah.
So it's pioneers like this and this and this. That's why y'all can have your hair colored today.
That's right. I remember this black because I lived up right off Hollywood and Western. There was an arcade that was famous. It was there for years, and I remember I was walking by and I had blue hair and my girl had green hair, and this black guy comes out and he goes, "You weirdo freaks!" And I looked at him and I go, "You're a racist." And you should have seen him. He turned white. It was hilarious to look at his face when I said that to him. I mean, it was back. I was 17. It was so far long ago. I mean, I'm 53 now. 53. So it's, that's a long time ago. So still, any little bit of racial tension was weird, and I was surprised when he said that to me. I really was, because he was an older guy. So you think he would have known better from what he's been through, not to care or let some things go dismay.
It's odd how it doesn't work that way.
I mean, people
it was
wanted
the look
to
of hatred
kill
on his
us.
face. That was the thing.
They
was the look
did.
of, you freaks. Like,
We went to Magic Mountain and the Hells Angels was following us around. They wanted to murder us. and it was bad. And
Because
it was,
everybody was just scared of your
well,
style?
they didn't. Yeah, they and
They were
it-
jealous because they didn't think of it first.
No, but and the worst thing was I was
took their
fucking
jackets.
blazing on 2 hits of acid at the time, and I'm like, are those really Hell's Angels? And they really want to kill us. And we couldn't get into Disneyland.
your
We didn't
trip.
even make it
Oh,
through
yeah.
the parking lot.
Disneyland
They
wouldn't let
kicked
anybody in.
in that had looked. They said we were gang related. We didn't even make it into near the entrance
That's why
without being
years
in.
later I took my boy and they were punk rockers with the boots and the spiked leather wristband. The spiked, not the triangle. And my son was 5 at the time, and I was like, going, wait a minute, I thought they weren't allowed to be in here.
Well,
but
things
they
were
in.
progressed by then.
Yeah.
Right.
But we could. We
Paved the
was-
way.
That was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
There was
But
a
I wouldn't
monolithic rock culture through the 60s and 70s. And I think these people were really invested in that. And when somebody just flushed all their values down the toilet overnight,
Upset the
they were
apple cart.
really threatened by that. I mean, to the point of fighting. I mean, Dwayne Peters, broken jaw, broken ribs.
Yeah.
And people were getting jumped at schools and on the street.
Punks getting stabbed on church steps in San Francisco.
On for, was it Florentine Gardens? The punk got shot? I mean,
Well,
you know.
geez, that happened to everybody. It happened to African Americans. I mean, everybody. You know, at one time or another.
Yeah,
We're
exactly.
people. Like I was telling you today when we were eating breakfast. People are people. Nothing changes. I mean, if we didn't keep ourselves as well entertained as we are with everything that we have,
We'd be murdering everybody.
it's just like they are everywhere else in the world where they don't have an iPhone or something to look at.
Xbox.
You got it. Seriously, that's all it is. It's just keeping busy.
Well, I think maybe because I don't know how to use my phone, it adds to my anger. If I learned how to use it, it would calm me down.
Well,
Oh,
you
yeah,
put it out
you
as
would,
in your comedy. See, you put it out somewhere. It's how you
It's a
vent.
venue.
If you vent in
Yeah,
a positive
exactly.
way, it's it. If you don't vent at all, you don't know what to do, and you'll be a sporadic fireball.
Well, you know, this isn't like I said, Miami Beach. It would be 10 years to 15 years after, you know, the hard.
Yeah, but Miami Beach, you got all that tail and those killer bikinis. Who the hell's got time to be pissed off at anything?
Well,
I'm
no,
telling
but I mean, like I'm saying though, is that the group of friends that Tomato introduced me to were basically I won't say punk rockers, but it was our own friggin' style.
you. We're living free, baby.
And
That's
it
all
was
it's about.
it was so much friggin' fun, and I did get I was involved.
learned that
I was
growing up in
standing in front of a gay bar. It was right next to Lulu's, which is where I met Tomato, and I was standing up at front talking to John, the doorman, who was this little guy from Liverpool, and man, he would pound the crap out of anybody that got out of line. But we were just standing there talking. There's a bunch of guys outside the club, and it's Saturday, and I got attacked from behind, and I'm just saying that it's so. You just wonder what the fuck. We're just standing out there, and all these students from University of Miami, well dressed. They just came up and started pounding the crap out of everybody, and of course they got their tails whooped. But,
they were probably the football team.
Jocks.
shit,
There
I
you
saw
go.
this one night. This
Jocko
guy,
Homo.
because I was standing outside smoking a cigarette. Yes, I smoke and I make no apologies for it.
Yay!
Anyway,
But back in the day,
But I was
I
standing out-
smoked cigars, and I don't give a fuck.
and these like 4 guys, young guys, were standing outside, and Twist, which is still there, but it was the hot spot at the time, and they're literally standing on the sidewalk going, "Watch out, you'll get AIDS," to everybody that's walking by, right? And I'm just like rolling my eyes, like, what a little douchebags. And they're young fags, don't get close. Like, well, these 2 dudes are walking up the street, and I'm telling you, they looked right out of friggin' Texas, man. I'm talking, and I'm from Tennessee. They weren't glamorous cowboys; they were real cowboys, right? And they're clomping up the street, and as they pass by me, and the guy nods at me, and then this kid goes, "Watch out, this fag!" And the guy didn't even look at him; he just went boom, and he hit him so hard that he flew, like his mouth just exploded, and he flew like 5 feet through the air, and landed on the hood of this Buick. And he's laying there going, "Ah!" And the 2 guys just keep on walking. It was the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's a Texan for you.
Damn cowboys.
Yeehaw!
People passed the joke around that we were punks when it was called "Hey Faggot."
Oh yeah, yeah.
What about when everybody was being called Devo?
Yeah, right.
Oh yeah.
They drive by and go Devo.
I chased these guys one time. I was sitting at a bus stop and I had a dreadlock mohawk. And these 2 guys made out of their way. I was in the valley. They just pull right up to me. "Fucking faggot punk rocker, you fag. We're going to kick your ass." So I got up and they took off. Which was hilarious because there were 2 Ann and a Firebird. It didn't make it, but why would they make it other to just pull over and do that? It's just ignorance in abundance, I guess.
Well, now you have brothers and sisters.
No, thank God I'm alone.
I have 3 sisters.
I mean,
Yeah,
like,
look at all that trouble.
But it's all girls for us.
well, I was going to say though. I mean, like,
Like men, pretty
were your
much.
siblings into the scene too? Were
Yes.
your parents cool with
my
it?
son, my sister was in the cosmetics, but my sister's with Jane. But my sister's 9 years older than me. My sister was in the glitter rock scene. You know,
Okay, now-
Which a lot of punks came out
That was
of.
her. That was her thing.
Okay, now help me and us to understand the segues from. You were saying first it was more like the
Well, that was
Like
72.
right.
And, you
so
know,
but
New
but,
York
but
Dolls,
glitter.
Mark Bartlett.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it was okay. Punk evolved from. Well, what do you think? Help me.
Anger, just straight
But,
out.
I mean, but
Yes,
as far as
yeah.
the music scene, okay, in the '60s it was like Mamas and Papas and all that sort of
Yeah.
thing, and then it morphed.
Well, then it was
into,
glitter.
Okay,
rock.
glitter. What do you?
I think it was.
What's
I
glitter?
think well, glitter rock was more, you know, like David Bowie, New York Dolls,
All that
Mark
androgyny
Bolan,
stuff.
Pixies and
T-Rex,
things like that.
Androgynous have spandex
you
pants,
know,
glitter, literally
Iggy
glitter.
Pop, you know, before, you know,
That's when you see those guys with all the
Okay.
glitter and the lipstick on
Pixies.
their
yeah,
face
you know,
and
they
lipstick.
looked
weren't?
more like, you know, they
love
were
them, I
very
do.
femme, you know, Queen, they were all very femme.
I gotcha.
And you know, big hair, you know, they were the thing. But I think punk was because of the disco that people were sick of having that shit
disco?
down
Crammed
their
down
throat.
your throat
laughing over there.
everywhere you
And
went.
it was
Uh-huh.
like,
But that's
fuck
here in America.
this.
Remember,
It was the disco and the overrated rock stars who overrated themselves so much that they'd wear like a long white gown and stand there and play keyboards for 3 hours straight.
Bloody
And,
Queen.
like, work
Yeah.
out.
Yeah,
God.
yes,
It
and
needed its
Well,
fucking
right,
ass kicked.
right,
the
right.
Eagles,
Yeah, but it was because then you had like Foghat and what's that other-
Nazareth,
yeah,
Boston,
Nazareth.
Kansas.
No, the perfect band he mentioned like that was a band called Angel, and they all.
Oh, yeah,
White
yeah,
hot.
yeah.
God, those
But
guys.
the glam look gets recycled in the early '80s with the big hair bands.
Absolutely. Well,
The-
yeah,
the
later
heavy
on,
metal big
you
hair
know,
bands.
that
were-
all kind of.
if you want to get an
Guns N'
idea of
yes,
what it looked like,
yes.
Guns N' Roses.
White Snake.
Striper.
White snake. Yeah.
Wasn't that
Hard.
Rat,
Gracie
a
band?
rat,
man.
rat,
Yeah.
rat,
Yeah, Rat.
Actually, Rat was okay. They were an LA band, but unfortunately, like that whole little LA scene for the new comeback metal glam just lasted maybe 2 or 3 years. Like the band called Poison.
Well, Milton Berle's, wasn't that his nephew that was in this? That's
I don't know.
he that was his nephew, the singer of Rat.
Well-
Just as a thing. And he was in their video dressed as a woman because remember he used to do that whole
Yeah.
yeah.
I was telling Dennis this in the car the other day, and this is completely off the punk rock thing, but it was really kind of cool. Because I love to watch reruns of Burns and Allen and all that sort of thing. And there's a guy that came into, I-10 bar at Wolfgang Steakhouse in Beverly Hills. I also want to plug the LA School of Comedy, 10835 Santa Monica Boulevard. No, seriously, because that's how this whole thing got off the ground. Oh, Sunda wants her key back, by the way, too. She just wanted me to gently remind you because I had to give her mine back, too, since we didn't record there. Anyway, but speaking of Milton Berle, is it this guy comes to the bar where I work in Beverly Hills, and he's, I guess, 70 or so, and he was very fondly telling stories about he used to date Milton Berle's daughter or one of the star's daughters, and he would go to pick her up on Sunday afternoons, and Lucy and Desi and Milton Berle and his wife and George and Gracie and all these. What's her Ozzy and Harriet? They'd all be hanging around, grilling out and drinking by the pool and that sort of thing. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, they were all friends.
Yeah, I just love that kind of Hollywood nostalgia, old day stuff.
And then you had Rock Hudson's parties.
I remember hearing about them in.
Paul Lynn.
And then
Do you
Paul
remember seeing
Lynn.
Rock Hudson on Dynasty when AIDS first was? Did you ever see
Oh,
that?
he didn't
episode?
tell her.
He
'cause
didn't
she
tell-
was
yeah.
He
He
didn't tell her, but I remember watching it, and it was like what 81 or 82
Yeah,
or
it was
something.
very sad.
But I can't believe, because I remember turning it on, watching it because Rock Hudson was going to be making an appearance. I'm like, yeah, okay. I was pretty much in the closet then. The point being is that he looked so fucking awful.
I
I was like, good God, how could they not have?
Well, he was old anyways. I mean,
No, I mean he.
No.
He was beat down. I guess I didn't know.
Well, if you looked at him a few years before and then you saw him, it was like, like straight out of,
And
it
I
was
remember reading
drastic.
somewhere where when he went to, because he went to Paris for what they were hoping, private treatments of some sort or whatever, and he was flying back on a chartered a large plane of some sort, and he was the only one on the plane, and the stewardess tells how he was just bawling, and he said, my whole life, my whole adult life, everybody's wanted to touch me, and now Nobody wants to come anywhere near me. You know.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, he kind of got outed in a really bad way during that time. They really put
Everybody
him
was
through the
terrified. They
mill.
didn't know much about it.
Oh,
at
yeah.
the
Yeah,
time.
exactly. I didn't know.
The media
But
was
still-
peddling
but they-
panic
they-
about that.
They
Yeah,
were
but they
selling-
really,
they were
he
selling
really got the,
panic big
he
time,
really
yeah.
got the brunt of it because
Because
he was the
one of
first.
big name.
Yeah.
Well, you know, for what it's worth, he did bring at least some recognition to the
Right.
crisis at the time. Yeah, because Susan, my friend Susan, who we will put it together someday, but she was our original cocktail corner, and our friend Andy. Because when you know Miami, it was the same kind of thing. You remember how your friends were like, "Yo, I'm getting skinny," or you know, nobody knew what was going on, and blah blah. Well, this one particular friend of ours who I bartended with, he was one of the first. You know, in Miami, it was really bad, like it was in LA, and when he was in the hospital, Susan, our friend Susan, who's just this little Connecticut blonde, you know, and she went right into the hospital when they were all still in hazmat suits and things like that. And she's like, "Don't be ridiculous, you know, don't turn away from our friends like this." But
Well, Liz Taylor really stuck behind him too.
oh,
and
absolutely,
she would not. She
and
did
Doris
not do
Day,
it.
but Liz
Yeah.
Taylor was so loud about it too.
Yeah.
She was great.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, anyway, let's
How
get
did
on
we-
something
so
more
we-
cheery.
Yeah.
10
Let's talk
minutes.
Oh yeah, how we
We
get
have
to
10
that?
minutes
to
left.
wrap-
I'm sorry.
Oh yeah.
10 minutes
AIDS.
left. You guys bring it on.
Punk
What do you
rock
want to
and
talk
AIDS.
about?
I'd like a poisonous members report, please.
Oh, yes,
no.
yes.
We did 12 hours recording we have a bunch of stuff left to do, backup singing and mixing and everything, but 7 songs are
Congratulations.
Fleshed out there.
Spent 12 hours in the studio.
it's 12 hours doing what I know nothing about.
You know more.
You're
than you
learning.
think you're
Learning
doing.
is right.
You guys kick ass.
Yeah,
Thank
you guys
you
are
very
good,
much.
very
It's
good.
Straight
kind
up.
of a surprise, but people seem to like it, so
Well, I'm coming to the next show.
I hope
Yeah.
you do.
They're good. They're very good.
Well,
Well, like I said, time is flying by. We have 10 minutes. Come on, you guys. Tell us what you want to tell us.
how about places we hung out? Everybody knows Okie Dogs, but few people know Errol Flynn's mansion.
Oh yes.
We used to hang
Yes.
out in
Oh,
Hollywood
yeah.
Forever Cemetery before it was Hollywood Forever Cemetery.
But wait, Errol Flynn's, the actual Errol Flynn's.
Yes,
burned down, it was
but it
just like a
burned
big
down. It
lot.
was just a lot, but you had to climb up there. Someone got
That
into
is
their
so
head
friggin' cool.
to let's put out a flyer where we're gonna have a party up there, and then all these punk rockers are going up to Errol Flynn's, and then all of a sudden, all the cops show up, and you're cornered, and we're jumping the fences, rolling down the hill with foxtails in your crotch, your stockings everywhere, hobbling down the other side.
So
of the
there was a good point to it.
There was. I was picking foxtails out for days.
No, that was great. I was
But I wasn't
going
gonna
to
get
We were
busted.
up at the top of the hill.
Hell
I mean, they
no.
were going to catch me.
Where was it? Do you remember?
Oh, it was way. Oh, what is
That's
the
that-
street?
it's that
I'm sure
little
there's
street.
some Persian palace on it now, but
No, it looks like
It's
it
probably
literally
built
looks like
up.
the entrance to a park. There's this block wall and then a gate, and then the rest is just all dirt terrain. But
Which
it
we
goes
did
up,
break
and then
in. It's
you
private
get to
property.
Yeah, it is private property.
You went up
It's
a
on Errol-
side
it's-
street off a main street up
yeah.
a hill,
And
and,
you
it
had to really
circled
walk.
back to this plateaued area that overlooked the city, kind of.
Yeah, it was.
And there was a
Top
hump.
floor still there, right?
Well, I think
I
it was
have no
just
idea
a
what's there,
basement covered over with wood and a pool with trash in it.
Well, the pool is where James Dean and Natalie Wood. What was that movie?
Rebel Without a Cause.
Rebel Without a Cause. So we always used to jump in and try to recreate that scene.
did they film it in his pool?
Yeah.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. So
That's where we used to
that's
hang
where
out
we used to
after
hang out
shows.
because you could. It was a pool, so you could go in there, get high. Of course, there was all these hypodermic needles in there too, which of course nobody was like, well, whatever.
Or steel toe boots. You'll
But
be all right.
but there was a caretaker that was on the property who sees probably 200 punk rockers coming up the mountain. All these people, calls the cops, threatens to shoot people. I think there was a couple gunshots going off, but it was such a huge property. But all you do is you start seeing all the cop cars coming up through the thing, and it's just like everybody
Buzzkill.
scatters.
And it's even been on TV. The tennis court that's lower down
Right.
was haunted.
Was
and
haunted,
people
yeah.
would hear tennis playing on the court. Nobody's there.
We gotta go spend the night there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember the time everybody got together to go tear down the Hollywood sign?
Oh, jeez. Yes.
Let's hear about it.
I remember being there. and
You
just
can't
having
even
fun,
go
'cause
up,
It was a
yeah.
park. We couldn't really do nothing.
Well, you
but-
can't go up there because of all the suicides now.
Well,
but
also, if you remember, the
Not anymore.
Hollywood sign at the time,
Was not.
which it's unbelievable to think of this now, but the sign was 50% fallen down at that time.
Right, it was trash.
But-
Hollywad.
Well, Holly, yeah.
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 Yeah, there was letters totally missing and what have you. So, and I
blank
always
spots.
liked that.
I
That
remember those blank spots.
represented how I felt about my life and the city in general at the time. That it was just decrepit.
Because
and-
all the dead glitter was in the
Yeah.
glitter.
Exactly.
And that was the feeling of Hollywood then. And
It really
loved
was.
It was decayed.
All the
Yeah.
porno
Yeah,
theaters
I
and
love
titty
it.
bars on right
Nothing
there by
but
the
that.
Howard
It was
Johnson.
awesome.
Totally agree. What?
Do you remember all those porno theaters and titty bars by the Howard Johnson?
Oh,
That
yeah.
Pussycat Theater played what? Those same movies for like 10 years.
Deep Throat and
Longer,
Yeah,
no
Deep
longer.
Throat,
I was
yeah.
10.
Trouble
Debbie
Miss
Debbie
Jones,
does
like
Dallas.
Debbie does Dallas.
Behind the
yeah.
green door.
Behind the
Behind the
green,
green
door.
door.
Behind the fudge bar.
Yeah.
Well, they also at
you
that
guys
time
sure do know a lot about the. Wait a minute. So do I. Wait a
We're
minute.
men. We still are men.
Because there was no internet, they had those
Those
magazine
magazines.
racks. So
With the stars.
with the you put you put 50 cents in, and you got a
And you
newspaper
still
out
all of them.
that told you about pornos, but it
Yeah.
also had ads in the
Ad
back where
ads
people
that-
would put pictures in,
pictures in.
come screw me, and
Yeah.
Kick them open. We didn't put no
Devil
pictures
in
in.
Miss
The
Jones.
good old
The
days.
devil, Miss Jones.
Now all
And-
you kids,
Devil
all
and
you do
Miss
is
Jones.
swipe.
And
what
right-
a
Well, no,
bore. You're
yeah.
a friggin' boring
Well,
bunch
we
of
were talking
losers.
about
And
that.
right
Not
next
really,
to
I
it,
love
you
y'all.
would have the Christian
Doggy
people
chews.
handing out little cards with Christian sayings and things like that on it.
Straighten up your life. You're gonna
Yeah.
burn in hell.
Oh yeah, those little
Yeah,
books.
the little pamphlets,
This,
and they had all kinds of things.
I hate to do it, y'all, but as you know, it flies right by.
Flies right
We're
by.
out of time. I want to thank you guys very, very much. I hope we'll
Yeah.
seriously. Everybody's always invited to come back. We'll work it out sometime in the future next year when you can come again, and we'll just pick it up right where we left off.
Absolutely.
I love it. It's
Thanks,
a lot of fun.
Bob. That was
I want to
great.
thank you very much.
Oh, and Leslie was in the decline of the Western civilization, just so
Yes.
everybody knows.
Well, for that matter, so was Dave.
Really?
No, I was not.
I thought you were in a crowd shot.
No, he's not. He's,
Oh,
no,
that
that
was
was a
her.
She's in-
that was a crotch shot.
All-
You
all
misunderstood.
All three of us were at the Fleetwood the night that Bags, Fear,
I was
and
in the
Circle
Alice
Jerks
bag
were filmed.
in the back. Yeah,
I was too.
in-
Yeah, that was the
yeah.
first band I ever saw, actually. So. But we were all three there that night, but we didn't know each other.
Well, I want to look for that.
Thanks to Sammy and Joe for coming on a Sunday.
Yay.
We're supposed to go to Sammy and Joe.
Don't be trying to steal my material,
Yeah.
Alsin. Thank you, Sammy and Joe, for coming in on a Sunday. And we'll be back. And so this show will be coming out sometime next week. We'll let you know. And then we will be back here on Tuesday for Jody and Amra. I don't know. Thank you very much, Leslie and Louie and Dave and Dennis and Sammy and Joe.
Thanks,
For
Bob.
episode
And Bob, thank
and
you.
for episode 56 of the Bob Dean Show.
Yay!
We love
And-
you, Bob.
Thank you. And remember, download and follow and iHeart and tell your friends, please. Love you. Thank you very much.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye.
It's a wrap.
Thank you, guys.